But the problem with having a long tantric money sex session is that eventually you come. But the problem with having a long... Good evening, my disgusting public. Shut your mouths, sit on your asses, and get yourself ready for the Chronicles of Ethan Lawrence, Part 3? You call yourself the retro dude? Keep doing it, because you're going to be history.
Hello world, Wednesday 13 here.
Hey, this is Tom Stay.
Hello everybody, I'm Ronnie LeDrew.
Yes, my friends, my name's John Mahon.
What's going on, everybody? It's Tom.
And it's Jamie. Welcome to the Chronicles of Podcast.
Hi guys, just a quick apology before we get ahead with today's interview. Unfortunately, Tom had some technical issues going into this interview, so he does cut in and out a little bit. His video's not there. But regardless, enjoy this incredible interview because it's a doozy. It's the Chronicles of Ethan Lawrence 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, this week we are back with another incredible guest. This week's guest is a returning third-time guest because in the words of Eric Bischoff, he's back! Here to tell us his boat stories, his horrible history, and much more. Join us as we welcome back former CXW champion, a large actor, a handsome son of a bitch. Let's climb on board the friendship. Toot, toot, and bring you the Chronicles of Ethan Lawrence 3.
Right, okay, first of all, hitting the ground running here. First of all, right, if you haven't listened to 1 and 2, or and as we called it in the second episode, we're now on episode Trois. So go back and listen to those, because otherwise none of this will make any sense. You have to do that now. Second of all, I have moved house. There is no longer any exposed brickwork in the background. That's gone. And the reason for that is because in between the time that you've had me on this pod, I have moved house and we've also got a new pope. Speaking of Christianity, I've got a thing to tell you about a TikTok that you put up where you were all like, oh, Jesus didn't sacrifice anything because he died and then he came back over the weekend. Oh, really? Oh, really? I would encourage you to study the liturgy because it wasn't his death that erased original sin from all of us mere mortals. It was the suffering. It was the suffering that he went through on the cross. Now, I don't know if either of you have been crucified before, all right? But it's not like a bed of roses, okay? It is nails through the hand. It is nails through the ankles. And you're up there with Barabbas. No one likes that guy. But there you are. That was what it was. That's why it's called the Passion, and that is what freed us from original sin. And I suggest, in the future, if you are going to question the tenements of Christianity, do a bit of fucking research, all right? It's great to be back. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Sorry, Charlie Kirk.
I think we only got one bit of hate out of all of that. I think that's the second bit we've had.
I was quite impressed. I was expecting loads.
Yeah, so was I.
I wrote a lot of stuff down.
I noticed. I can see on your face, it's like, fuck your intro. I've got shit to say.
Absolutely. I started pas deux by saying and another thing. And I figured I'd go even harder on this one.
I love it. I feel like I should go and sit at the naughty step or something. Do you know what I mean? Like I should get my hand smacked by a ruler.
Look, I am not a religious man. But if you're gonna sit there and misinterpret scripture, I'm gonna come for you.
Ethan, that's fine. It was just a joke.
You know what's not a joke? Being crucified.
No, I understand that.
Tom very, very calmly going, no, I do understand. You're right.
It's fine if you do it. It's fine. I'm so scared about my internet freezing that I'm literally trying to sit here as still as possible. The reason why obviously we have no backdrops anymore is because my room's too small and I can't fit it in. So we've worked for digital instead. You know what I mean?
Did you not wear it around you like a cape?
We should do, shouldn't we? We should have thought of that.
That would have looked pretty cool, actually.
That would
not to
cool.
overproduce your podcast, but like, you know, just
capes make everything better. To be fair, I get it.
Of course. Apart from that bit in The Incredibles where Ed Mode was like, no capes.
That's a fair point, actually. Yeah.
You guys seen that film?
Of course.
It's a lot like the Bible.
Are you going to make Jesus references to everything we ask?
Well, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Reread the sacred texts.
I don't want to. I have no
That's why it's
desire
called
to.
The Passion. It's why it's called The Passion. And it's why... Do you see they're making a sequel to that, The Passion of the Christ?
How do you even do that?
Well, presumably it's the bit afterwards. Like, there's just a bunch of guys just staring at a cave.
Where the fuck did he go? Oh,
He's gone. It's not as extreme and as intense as the first film, you know? It's just everyone's really quite calmly looking at a boulder.
I really reckon that should represent a chocolate egg in the future. I agree.
You know what? You're right. You're right. Tell you what, we should go find some pagans and tell them that this is Easter now.
I'm all for it now. Bring it on, Mel Gibson. This sounds like a great film.
Bring it on, Mel Gibson. The first time anyone has ever said that.
And the last.
Bring it on, Mel Gibson.
Do you know what it's like to be crucified, Mel Gibson? No, you don't.
No, because you made Jim Caviezel do it. You coward. That's right. I'm coming for you, Gibson. You're a coward.
Oh,
Good to be back. Good to be back on the pod.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you.
Back.
Always. Dude, how's your Wednesday been?
Wednesday's been all right. I went to a nice cafe.
Oh,
I went to a nice cafe. I was doing a. No, we'll get onto this, but now that I'm also a podcast maven, I went to do a content strategy meeting to talk about some brand synergy with another podcast I know. And if I ever say those sequence of words again, I might end it all.
yeah,
But I did do that. It was a lovely cafe in Emulsion Mill in Chelmsford. You ever been? And it's real nice. When we got there, the guy we were meeting, Will, he was sat there, and the owner of the cafe was like, "Oh, you guys are meeting Will, aren't you? Well, I hope the meeting goes on for a certain amount of time because we got sausage rolls incoming."
Oh.
And I was like, "Hell yeah!" So we waited. Out the sausage rolls came, all locally sourced pork, made it damn great, thrown together and cooked. £6 they were, and for that you got a fucking fistful of pork. I'm telling you that for nothing. That's a lot of sausage for £6. That's all I'm saying. And the brand strategy meeting sort of fell apart because we were all just really enjoying. They came with tomato relish and all. Anyway, the owner took a shine to us, and he comes over and he's made some quiche. He was trying a new quiche recipe, and so he gave us a little bit of quiche each. It was a chorizo and basil quiche.
Oh,
not yet chilled down to the point where it would be ready for prime time, but the flavors were so good. So yeah, good Wednesday. Speaking of meat, butchers. So
yes.
There's been some developments. Again, if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to part and part D, I cannot stress enough. This will make no sense. And it's also been 2 years, so you might have forgotten. Go back. You need to hear about the butcher situation. Cut to now. In the time since you guys have seen me, the butcher's reopened, then closed.
but what?
And now it's under completely new management.
What the fuck?
Completely different set of stuff. Now, we're still grateful because obviously it's still a butcher's. We still have 2 in the town. Shame for all the other guys. I don't know where they've gone, scattered to the winds, I assume. But it's a bunch of new guys, and they don't have the same collective deals for chicken breasts.
No.
That because they used to do, right, you could get, what was it? It was six chicken breasts for £16, right? And these are decent chicken breasts, right? Yeah, they've got some power to them. And now, like, they don't do those. Maybe they'll start integrating them later. I don't know, but they've sort of established themselves. The layout's really nice. Like, they've got good livery on the frontage. We love that. And you know, they're still stocking a lot of Maldon salt. We all know about Maldon salt. They sell buckets of the shit and all. But like, yeah, they've got some good looking meat in there. So I'm looking forward to developing a relationship with my local butcher. But honestly, when we heard they were closing again, heartbroken.
Close, reopen, and then under new management in 19 months.
I'll tell you for how, because we live in a post-pandemic society and things are tough. It's tough to run an independent business these days.
Yeah,
that is very true.
And it is desperately unfair and very sad. But you know, we still have two butchers, and that is the main thing. That is what we are taking away from this. That is the joy of spring.
And that they took their deals to the end. To the end.
That was probably what sunk them.
Yeah, I agree.
They were selling the breasts for well under cost. Which is also the watchword of Pornhub, I believe. And while it worked for those guys, but it didn't work. It didn't work for the butchers.
That's a shame. Hopefully, the long may this continue then for two butchers in the town.
Well, we can only hope.
Exactly.
It must be said, there's been no kind of ruptions, Ansels at the other end of the town. They've coasted through.
Bastards.
Hey, we love them. Hey, easy. We love them.
Okay. We do love them. We do love them. But why is one side doing so well and one not? I don't understand.
I think, honestly, I think it's the layout of the high street.
Okay.
Because that's at the Ansels is like at the top of the town. It's near the big car park, right? That's your money spot. Like it's near the M&S. You know, it's near the QD. Like, you know, it's at the business end of town. Down where we are, because we're just off the high street, although a little bit further from the high street now, if you know what I mean. Moved house, no exposed brickwork. We already talked about this. You don't need to keep going on about it. But at this end of the high street, it starts to peter out. A lot of restaurants down this end. Like, you know, people are coming down and they're coming down. This is where you eat. It's not where you buy food. This is where you eat. And you can have Indian, you can have a curry. There's a place called Sark. Does wonderful Turkish food, and that's it. It's all variations of that.
So you're like the evening end of town, whereas that's the daytime end of town at the top.
Very much the nightlife is here around Butt Lane. That's for sure.
Butt Lane. How immature am I? I giggled at Butt Lane.
What is so funny about that?
Because I'm childish and the word butts is funny.
Allow me to explain.
Okay.
Butt Lane used to be where the soldiers of Mordentown practiced archery. They're talking about the butts where they shoot the arrows on the targets. It's actually not about butts, what you were thinking of. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Never.
That being said, what I will say, Butt Lane is a one-way street, and that's funny.
Delivery was excellent.
Yes,
it's almost like that was one of the opening parts of when I used to do stand-up. And it's been 7 years, but the muscle memory's still there.
I love it.
It's still toned. Like, I'm ready.
If ever comes a time we get called to that stage again,
dust off the old Butt Lane gag. And it is dusty. It is a dusty old gag. I'll tell you that.
But Ethan, as I said, it's been 19 months since you last came on this show. We said we'd do this once a year, and we sort of failed a little bit on that one, didn't we? So
yeah, I don't know what happened.
No, normally, to be honest.
I suspect it's Tom's fault.
That's Stade or Stevens? Because, you know, we've already discovered we've got some problems with Stade now. I'm
not sure. Did we say that on the pod?
No, I don't think we did, but it's fine.
Okay, right. Well, we need to clarify that, because otherwise it's going to sound like I have a legitimate problem with Tom Stade. What I will say is that I think the person who is to blame is definitely Tom S. I'll say that for nothing.
Oh.
Second of all, don't have a problem with Tom Stade. However, he is your first threefer.
He is.
And I am devastated that it's not me.
Oh,
silver medal, always the bridesmaid.
We'll sort it out.
Just tearfully catching a bouquet thrown by ignorant Tom in his beautiful wedding dress.
You watch, we'll arrange for part 4, and then Tom Stade will just slide in our DMs. Gents, it's been a while.
Couldn't help but notice.
He does follow us as well. So
He'll know. But we can't leave it another 2 years. This is ridiculous. I would like to say I've got a lot to catch you up on, but I don't.
we do have some stuff to talk about.
Sort of. I was messaging Tom last night when he sent me over the Zoom link in preparation. I was sort of like, I hope you've got something planned because I've got nothing outside of the butcher's thing, which I thought might last longer, but I actually realized I don't have much more to say about that, to be honest with you.
That's fine. We just love the update. That's what we appreciate more than anything else.
It was that and the crucifixion thing. So I'm now out of ideas. So it's all going to be on you guys now.
Well, when we did last speak, you had, I think you'd just done or just about to go do Boat Story.
Finished it.
I think we were in between. I think I'd finished and it was set to come out later that year, which it did.
Yes, because I remember you couldn't tell us a lot about it, but obviously now it's out there. People have seen it. What's the reception been like?
Reception was good. People who watched it seemed to really enjoy it, which is good. It hit that kind of sort of wintertime bingy drama, sort of fulfilling the role that a Scandi drama often does, with a topsy-turvy plot and everything like that. It's just ultimately unfortunate that it came out at a time when there wasn't much momentum to then push off from, because it did well. People seemed to enjoy it. A lot of people didn't enjoy it, calling it hyper violent. Saw a lot of press coverage where they found like someone with 15 followers on Twitter going, ban this sick filth. This isn't what I turned BBC One on for a Sunday for. This is
people love hyper violent shit. What are they on about?
Do they? I'm not sure if they like it on prime time on Sunday. I think that's maybe.
I suppose, maybe that is.
And we're talking about a show that slaughters 27 police officers in its first episode, and they only get hairier from there.
Okay, I suppose you got a point, in a way, but still.
I think a lot of people, in that respect, I think a few people sort of bounced off the first episode, but those who stuck around to the finish, and that's what you want, really. You want retention's more important than first debuts.
That is very true, I suppose. But, that's not all you've been up to. You have created one of the most amazing, beautiful, artistic films I've ever seen in my life during that time in unfilmed Trois.
Oh, yeah. I did that for another podcast. I go on another podcast.
Fucking incredible. It's fine. We'll let you.
Just so you know. You're not my only lay.
What's the first one?
Oh, no, we've lost Tom.
Oh, no.
That's fine. I'll just keep talking.
This?
Oh, he's back. No, he's
back. I'm just. This is just going to drive me insane. But anyway,
and filmed Trois.
Filmed Trois.
Yeah, so that was for another show called Cheap Show. Shout out Cheap Show, where we sort of did. I think we called it the Trash Can Film Festival.
Yes.
And it was just basically people sending in various clips that they'd made. Some were grotty, some were not. But the storyline of the ep was that I was going in with sort of like a deeply personal artistic film. And I just filming stuff around my house, like flicking through bedclothes that were outside, pretending to drink a mug of tea, but then revealing there was nothing in it. It's
that destroyed me. I could not stop laughing at that. That really got me.
It's I don't even know where it's ended up now. Did I put it on TikTok? I can't even remember.
I watched the Trash Can Film Festival's upload of it on YouTube. I had to scroll through it to find your film.
That's probably the only place to find it, because I've actually remembered what happened now. I was going to put it up on TikTok, but I also remembered that I put like heavily licensed music on it.
Oh, okay.
So it got an immediate copyright strike.
That won't help, I suppose, yeah.
And I was like, oh dear.
But how did you even get like involved in doing that?
I've known the Cheap Show boys for a while, same as you boys actually. Like we go way back. And when it came to sort of like doing something kind of artistic and a bit fun, they usually call on me to do something mad. Knowing that I'll go in with 2 feet, you know what I mean?
Well, the fact you started practically having a fist fight on the set as well, like.
Oh yeah. That's another thing that happened. It's crazy what you can do on a live broadcast, isn't it? Cutting around all sorts of stuff.
But yeah,
breathtaking work.
But it was absolutely amazing. But you've hinted at it. We will get into it. Like we've had some fun. But we do want to, I don't want to say make it dark, but, we do need to talk about it, because you did your year in review thing on Substack, and you also did that video on TikTok where you talked about potentially giving up being an actor, to put it that way.
Yes.
What sort of brought that on, like, to do that video in the first place?
So I was moving house, as you know, because of the lack of exposed brickwork. We've talked about that before. You need to stop dragging us back into that. We don't need to talk about it. But I was fair enough. But it was so I was in the process because it's sort of downsizing. So I was like getting rid of a load of old shit, and so I was on my knees pulling stuff out of a drawer and like lining it up to be bagged. And I hadn't had any acting work for like 18 months by that point, something like that, 14 to 18 months. So it was pretty bad. It's over a year. And like, so I just felt immediately like, fucking hell, man. Like I'm moving house because my landlord is selling the house out from underneath me. I am like literally throwing stuff away. I don't own anything. Like, you know, I've been acting for what at that point 12 years, I guess. I had nothing really to show for it apart from I paid off my car, I suppose. I've got an asset. I've got one asset. It's a Vauxhall Viva. So in the event of my untimely death, that will be going to my next of kin. They can have fun with that. It's all right, you know. It's about 14,000 miles on the clock. So that was happening, and I was like what the fuck am I even doing at this point? Like, acting isn't making me happy anymore, or at least the lack of acting isn't making me happy anymore. And so what am I actually doing any of this for? And it wasn't a case of like, ooh, pity me. It was a case of, right, but so this is happening and this is mad. I'm like, I guess I would have been 31 at that point. And I'm like, so I'm in my early 30s. Am I still going to want to be doing this when I'm 40, 50, 60, God forbid 70? Like, you know, if I'm still living a life where like I've got no security and like I could just lose my house like that and then have to pull even more money out of my ass because moving's expensive, as Tom knows, having recently moved.
Yes.
And so I just posted up this video where I didn't do any edits on it or anything. I just sort of it was a scream into the void.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I needed to get something on paper or on video in this case, just to sort of be like, this is where I am at currently. And because as you know, I've always been very open about like the trials and tribulations of being a working actor. And so I felt I guess a kind of responsibility to be like, okay, well, this is how it is sometimes. Sometimes you're at the absolute pit of despair and you just need to do something. So I posted it. I wasn't expecting it to do anything because it was like a nearly 5-minute long video without any edits or music of just me moaning. So I wasn't expecting. Next day, I've got emails coming in from being like, "Oh, God, I've just seen your thing here," and I'm like, what's going on?" Lad Bible had picked it up, Metro had picked it up, Daily Express had picked it up, and like the Sun had picked it up. I didn't really care about that because the Sun it's not even a newspaper.
No,
it's nothing. It's ink jizzed on a page. It's
yeah.
But anyway, they reported on it, if you can call it reporting. And I unexpectedly, although this lasted for basically no time at all, I briefly became the acceptable face of the creative industry's fucked, bro. And yes, that's a great thing to be. I'm there out on my own, being like, guys, solidarity, and everyone's like, you know, see, I'm not going to name any names. That's not fair. But I did have a few people DM me going, you know, that was really brave what you did. And I'm like, oh, are you going to stand with me? And they're like, no. Oh. Obviously not. You just made yourself unemployable. Yeah, I suppose.
Well, not really. No, I wouldn't say that at all. If anything, like, you know, like us people outside of the industry, we don't have a clue. We turn the TV on and go, haha, we like that. Like,
well, that's it. I broke kayfabe, to use a wrestling term, because, like, you know, we're not strictly speaking supposed to talk about this. You know what I mean? It's a sort of like a shared omerta that, like, you know, we're all just chugging along and everything's great. And it's like, it's really not. Like some of the feedback that I had from that video, like some of it was heartbreaking. Like I had people both, like some anonymous, some not. But genuinely, one of the most heartbreaking things that I read was a gaffer, in industry terms, like the chief electrician. Your man who's looking after your lights and everything like that. You'll be able to spot them, the gaffer. They'll be in the electric truck. They'll have their feet up over the steering wheel. They will wear shorts in all weather. And normally they'll have a really skinny dog end behind their ear that they've been smoking since 1975. That's where you'll find him. That's the gaffer. But this particular gaffer said that he was leaving the industry after 35 years.
Wow.
Working that because it was just no longer financially viable. So he may as well just go and become a commercial electrician. And my argument in subsequent videos, and when I went on BBC News and a BBC Sounds podcast thing to talk about, is like, you know, it's very easy for people to go for people to look at, certainly from my perspective on it, and go sort of like, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, you're an actor, no one knows your career. And it's like, yeah, I know. The point is, right, that it's not just actors.
No.
You know, when you're talking about television production, you're talking about a crew of hundreds. And so, like, while it might be amusing to you that an actor has lost their job, would you say the same about a researcher, a production assistant, a gaffer? Like, these people also have jobs in this industry and rely on them deeply and intensely. And my fear was that with everything collapsing and falling apart, some of these people are going to leave and they're not coming back.
No.
And that's the real danger. Like, we were at the time, I mean, at the time we were under a Conservative government, and I'm sure we were all thrilled when Sir Keir Starmer came in and promised to do absolutely nothing to fix this. But we are very much still now, even now. I had my last audition 3 months ago. And there's been nothing since. Like, it had a brief spurt back to life and then went away again. And this is not viable. This is not viable. And we are in a situation where, with people leaving, you get a brain drain. We are functionally sleepwalking off a cliff here.
Yeah.
And I have to be said, look, I love fish, right? I love fish, great stuff. And I love fishermen. They're good guys, and they go out in all weathers. It's a very difficult job. The creative industry matters. Yet all I hear about when it comes to discussions of which things need to be saved and which things need to not be saved, I cannot move for headlines about how the fishing industry is the most important thing Britain's got. It is a fraction of what the creative industry brings in annually to the Exchequer. And I'm not saying that fishing isn't important. I'm saying it's all important. Because by and large, the creative industry is just left to rot because, oh, whatever. It's only 20 billion a year. It's only global soft power that you could only dream of if you're in another country.
Well, yeah.
But I'm going to get off my soapbox for a bit now because I got very serious. Let's say something funny. Hang on, let me think. Let me think, Jamie.
Sorry.
Where's the brickwork gone, Ethan?
The brickwork? Well, if you've been listening, Tom S. Yeah, it was you. Moved house.
I think it's important to get on a soapbox and talk about these things, though, because it is an important thing. Like, everyone loves movies, everyone loves TV. It's such an important thing. But you were saying then you haven't had an audition in 3 months. Just to understand a bit more about it, is that because there's just nothing out there to go audition for, or why is that?
Yeah, so it's worth explaining this because, again, if I had the opportunity to do that original TikTok video again, I would have packed it full of information that at the time I did not have to my fingertips.
Yeah.
But again, you have to understand, when I was making that video, I was not thinking that I was going to be the brand ambassador for the entire creative industry for about a week. But things I would have included there is why this is happening, right? Because it is a perfect storm of loads of things going wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
So we'll start in roughly chronological order. Let me take you back to the halcyon days of 2016.
Oh.
Do you remember back then when we were still part of a European community?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Pre-COVID.
glory days. Oh, wonderful moment. And then we Brexited. Now, the thing with the Brexit and what has now subsequently happened, because we ended up having the worst possible deal we could have had.
Of course.
And for all, listen up, right-wing commentators. For all the people moaning about how, like, I am not a Starmer defender, but I will say this. For all the people moaning about how shit this Brexit deal is, your boy Boris Johnson came up with it. So if you're going to blame anyone for it, blame him. You assholes. But subsequently, what this has meant is that, well, a lot of things. It is harder now to work on the continent, which for a lot of actors is basically their bread and butter. The reason for this is to work on a continent now. We used to just be able to do it frictionless, but now you need a visa. And that visa has to be paid for by a production company who perhaps would be more willing to just pay someone on the continent as opposed to getting a British actor in. In addition to that, because everything shrinks because of the economy, and the economy has shrunk, obviously, because of Brexit, that has a knock-on effect on everything else. So budgets are tightening up at a time when things are starting to cost more, which brings us on to our next thing, inflation. So was a time that you could maybe mount a pilot for something like the BBC. You could maybe mount something like that for maybe 100 to 150,000 quid, right?
Yeah.
That's now £500,000. What? Because you're talking about everything from hiring practices, getting locations, everything is more expensive and it is exponential. It grows and grows and grows and grows and grows to the point where a lot of companies aren't willing to take the kind of risks that they might have done in the past when things were, good and things were great. We now move on chronologically to the next bit because God forbid we have a reprieve after we Brexit. No, we slam straight into COVID. Now, COVID caused a lot of things to happen. It caused a lot of projects to get pushed. But what it also meant is that companies were sort of stockpiling their money and sort of keeping their powder dry. And so when things started to open again and things could start happening again, they basically shot everything that they had. They splurged a whole bunch of money on everything. This is why, looking back in hindsight, my 22-23 calendar was so packed.
Yeah.
Because we were literally making everything. Like, you couldn't move for projects. But the problem with having a long tantric money sex session is that eventually you come. And once that happens, your balls are empty. By which I mean, all the projects that they had chambered have been made, and there'd been no real attempt to try and shore up new ones to come after, and they'd spent all their money.
Yeah.
Like, it was all gone because they made so much so fast. But you might think to yourself, well, that's fine. All you need to do is just get a bunch of people in to write some more stuff and then just make that. Writers' strike in Hollywood.
Yes.
Oh,
I actually forgot all about that for a minute. Yes.
So what happens then? Well, that means that a lot of big American productions that always come over here to use our studios because our studios are the best in the world, as are our crews. That's what that global soft power I was talking about. But now suddenly they're not making anything over here because no one's making anything because there are no writers and there are no directors. And this union strike goes on for ages. Now, I am not complaining about the union strike. It is a good and proper thing that they did. It is very important that we are represented as actors, as creators, as writers, as directors to be protected from the capricious whims of the CEOs and the money men that sit atop the pyramid. Your people like your David Zaslavs, people like your who's the guy who does Disney, Bob Iger.
That's it. Yeah.
Like, these executives that pull in like tens of millions of pounds of salary a year, not including their bonuses for whatever their performances are, who don't have a creative bone in their body, but sure know their way around a spreadsheet. And we've seen this happen, particularly with David Zaslav, who I have a very big problem with. So, Warner Brothers, sorry, but This is why I'm unemployable. But like, we have a situation where it is now more financially convenient for Warner Brothers to shelve movies that they have completely finished so that they can get a tax cut, rather than actually putting them out and letting people see it and letting the market decide. The two big cases of this were Batwoman, which again had finished post-production and was ready to go into cinemas. Gone. We'll never see that. That will never see the light of day, because removing that allowed space for there to be some green on a spreadsheet somewhere. The Acme film, the Looney Tunes thing, Wile E. Coyote versus Acme, whatever it's called.
Yes.
Like, fortunately, that seems to be getting a second life because the license was sold to someone else, which is always a good thing. And hopefully that will see the light of day. But again, the intention was for that to vanish, so that they could get a tax break, and therefore their shareholders' investments are ring-fenced again against any kind of issue. Because as we are now fast learning in this hyper-capitalist society that we live in, the illusion of infinite growth is all the shareholders care about. But it is an illusion. There is only a finite number of eyes. There's only a finite number of dollars in people's pockets, particularly as things get harder and harder with inflation, all that kinds of stuff. It's really difficult, which is a long way of me saying it was important for these strikes to happen.
Yes.
Because if you give these pricks an inch, they'll take the piss. So it was important, and I stand in solidarity with anyone in the creative industry, and in fact, any trade union everywhere. I stand in full solidarity with, because by God, if we don't protect ourselves, then we've got no hope. But
they fucked me at the same time.
makes it really hard to appreciate it when you're sitting here in a country that is currently not on any kind of creative strike, waving your little placard, going, doesn't affect me though. I'm not on strike. I am ready. I will scab. In fact, I'm not even scabbing because we're not on strike. It's fine. This is morally fine if I work. It really is. And so the short story long, it's possible that the British creative industries could have survived one of these things.
Yeah.
But it is becoming increasingly clear that it didn't have the stability or the cash to survive all of them. And what we are seeing now, because this work is so precarious, and because I should have done all this before. There is a frightening stat. Really high percentage of people who work in the creative industries are self-employed.
Yes.
Which means there are no safety nets. This is why people are leaving the industry. This is why people can't afford to keep doing what they're doing. It's why we're facing a brain drain. And it is, in addition, there's no one else going to be coming in either. Because if established artists and established crews can't get work, what hope is there for someone starting out? Very little indeed. Sorry if that was boring, everyone listening to the podcast, but I do get very inflamed about this sort of stuff.
And it's important to talk about it.
Of course it is.
Important to talk about it, because it's costing people their jobs at the end of the day. Like you say, it's so important to talk about it. And
what I find so frustrating about it is not the fact that it's happening, but the fact that it's either not talked about or at least not considered important. And because my argument is and will remain, in 2021, I think it was, and bearing in mind that was a pandemic year, the UK creative industries poured £22 billion into the Exchequer's pocket. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That is a lot of fucking money. Money that is then redistributed both into itself with the BBC, but also to schools, hospitals, potholes. Basically, what I'm saying is, because I'm not working, that's why your pothole isn't getting fixed. So
that's my bins still aren't being fucking collected. Is that your fault?
That's because you live in Birmingham. No, that's no one's fault. That's like a vengeful god. Because you haven't read your Bible enough, I should say.
But there is a knock-on effect as well, because, like you say, people are losing their jobs now. The future, it ain't going to go. People aren't going to want to get into this industry in the first place.
I think there's still enough of a dream job aspect to it that people are always going to try. It's just that it's increasingly going to become even more difficult.
Yeah.
Like it's my belief at least that we are re-entering a phase whereby working in the arts as a full-time professional will become the occupation of the elites, because only people who have the financial backing from their families will be able to afford to do this full-time. And that should scare people.
Yeah.
I mean, we've recently had discussions sort of around, funnily enough, when I was talking about this stuff, this sort of came up around a similar time, that there was some, again, embarrassing stats coming out for like working class representation on TV. It's something like 5%.
Not a surprise.
Like, is that low? Like single digit percentage. And, you know, even talking from, even if everything in the industry was fine and stuff was being made, the paucity of different viewpoints and different experiences, lived experiences that people can bring to bear to these sorts of things, again, should worry people. Like, I'm not knocking any of the people that grab the bag, but do we really need another documentary where a comedian and their mum goes to a place?
No.
Because I swear down, at the end of 2021, there were 5 of them and all of them went to Iceland. Like, I can't imagine. I know more about Iceland than I do about my own country now.
But do you feel like reality TV and social media are killing the TV industry as well? With Hawk Tour, for example.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, I worry. I feel it's perhaps being blown a touch out of proportion. Like, only because on the one hand, you've got people going, you know, oh, it's nothing. And on the other hand going, it's an apocalypse. It's the death of television. And I'm like, why not somewhere in the middle? But why not? Obviously, social media and YouTube are chewing up people's finite time. Because I read a stat. I think YouTube is now the most watched streaming platform.
Yeah, oh, wow.
Like, out of any. And that includes your Disney's. Like, YouTube's pissing on Disney's chips, which is crazy. Like, if you think about that, that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, insane.
Like, it's crazy to think about. So yeah, obviously it is a thing, but also, you know, it's an avenue for people to get discovered. It's an avenue for like people to share content that they've made. It's still one of the few places that an independent artist can actually make a decent start. Because certainly they're not breaking into sort of the hegemonic monstrosity that like British TV has become. And like, you know, you look at names like, I mean, the name that comes to mind is Munya Chihuahua.
Yes.
Who, like, you know, comedian of great note and doing his thing. But it wasn't until his videos started going mental on social media that TV started taking him seriously.
Of course.
Yeah.
As a thing. So we do have sort of like a block channel there. In terms of reality TV has basically always been a thing. Like, you know, it's not a recent phenomenon.
But I think there's too much now. They're thinking of the most randomest shit possible and throwing it out.
Oh, for sure. But the thing is, it does numbers, and I like to think of it in terms of provincial theatres, right?
Yeah.
So if you're running like a theatre out in like a small town or something, the vast bulk of your annual income will be from the panto.
Yes.
So that's a month-long run where you can basically guarantee sold out houses, merch aplenty, and programs and all sorts of stuff like that. And that basically pays for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
That's when you have the opportunity to then like bring on comedians or magicians or like a play or something that doesn't potentially have the draw that a panto does. And I think of reality TV in much the same way.
Okay.
Like for the BBC, especially, like they've got the 1-2 punch in the winter months of Strictly going directly into Traitors.
Yes.
Both of these shows do hella numbers. Like Traitors especially, like is sort of doing the kind of numbers that Received Wisdom would tell you, oh, you just don't get numbers like this anymore. You know what I mean? And so, that is what then theoretically, in an ideal world, would be what would fund, like, say, a small comedy project. But one of the arguments that I have been making, and this isn't even specific to this situation either. Whenever times are tough, comedy is always the first thing to go when it comes to programming.
Yep.
Despite it being generally mid to low range, cheap to make, but also there's no guaranteed ROI, right? Because comedy being such a subjective thing, like with a drama, you can theoretically widen the net to bring in a lot of people. If someone doesn't find your comedy funny, that's sort of it. That's the end of that.
What I find really weird about that is you look back at the past, the most memorable TV programs are the comedies.
Mm-hmm.
No one
and I mentioned this in my
dramas.
Substack. Ethan Lawrence, large actor on Substack, by the way, substack.com, large actor. Which with most recently at Christmas, right? We had Gavin and Stacey that did something like 18.4 million on Christmas Day. Most watched thing on all of British telly. And also worth bearing in mind that in the top 10, only one wasn't on the BBC.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of crazy, right? 18.4 million people. Let's talk about Gavin and Stacey briefly. So that made a start on BBC Three.
Yes.
Which at the time was basically a repository for newer, untested comedy ideas. It did well on there. It flourished. It was brought over to terrestrial. Its audience grew and grew and grew and grew organically until we get to the point where it's pulling in nearly 20 million people on Christmas Day. The risk we run is that we've got fuck all replacing that now. Like we do not have anything that could potentially be that kind of success story because nothing's being given the chance, nothing's being given the option. And that is, again, I know I keep saying this should worry people. Because eventually, what's going to be in that slot? Who knows? A repeat at Top of the Pops or something. And it would be good to see like Slade do it again, like live on Top of the Pops. That'd be nice and fun and that. Live. But yeah, well, as live as one can be on Top of the Pops. Can't believe you're pulling me up for that.
You pulled me up on the fucking Bible. I'm getting you on Noddy Holder.
All right. Who in many ways,
so similar. Both popular around Christmas time. It's fine.
Come see, come sir. They both died for our sins. Nah, Noddy's still alive. God love him.
I was going to say, he's still going, isn't
he? Yeah, he's still around. Black Sabbath coming back, eh? All four of them?
Yeah, that's quite upsetting how expensive that was. I'd love to go, but
oh, I didn't even look.
Oh,
as I mentioned, I've not worked much recently. I was like, Black Sabbath, food for 4 months.
All right, I'll see you one more time.
Fine, I guess if they've got Bill Ward, we're never going to fucking see him again, are we?
Well.
And for some reason, Jason Momoa. Yeah, I'm all over that.
Jason Momoa. I had a period of time where I used to pretend he was my dad.
What?
Jason Momoa. It's just like a bit, like just a funny bit that I do. Like if anyone mentioned Jason Momoa, I'd be like, "Oh, my dad." And they'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "That large, handsome Samoan man. That's Pops." I think the genes skipped a generation, but it doesn't make it any less real.
Then when you got rid of the hyphenated Lawrence part, I was heartbroken.
I've got 2 other lies that I tell people. Let me tell you about my lies. So try this on your friends. If you're ever walking past a graveyard, just say to whoever you're walking with, you know, Sherlock Holmes is buried there. They'll believe you. They'll believe you. He may well be a fictional character, but they'll be like, oh, yeah. The other one I like to do is that you remember Gautier?
Oh, somebody I used to know.
That guy. Yeah. You didn't have to call me up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I used to pretend that he, well, I still do actually. I used to pretend that he used to bully me at school. Despite being 10 years older than me and not from the same country.
I was going to say he's not even British, is he?
No.
Phenomenal.
He's like, I was about to say he's either Austrian or Australian, but I actually think to myself, he might actually be Austrian-Australian. I seem to think. Again, I've not done enough research to check this out. But, yeah.
I used to tell people...
I used to pretend that Gautier used to push me into a bush. Well, on my way home from school, he used to like shoulder barge me into a hedge.
You didn't have to piss me off.
And I'd be like, oh, Gautier. Not again, Gautier.
I wonder how many people actually believed that.
Probably not very many, because that one's not as strong as the Sherlock Holmes one, I've got to say.
I think you say it's not as strong as telling people Jason Momoa is your dad.
It's not as strong as that. I think of the three, it's the weakest.
I remember I used to tell people that DJ Tim Westwood was my uncle, and then when everything came out about him, I was like, no relation, no relation, no relation.
Oh yeah, I used to go punting with Russell Brand. Oh, I'm not doing that anymore. No. Retiring that one. Imagine that, you and Russell Brand on like a gondola.
Why is that mental image really?
I sure do like being in Venice, my liege. Oh, I sure do. Wanker.
Is it a good Russell Brand voice though?
Oh!
Oh, right. Let's cheer ourselves up a little bit.
That made you cry again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh.
You didn't have to cry.
Oh, you are now involved in the crazy world of professional wrestling.
How I bet you didn't see that coming.
No.
That's what they call me. Oh, left turn Lawrence.
Scrolling through Instagram, I was like, oh, there's Ethan with a championship belt. What the fuck? Why has Ethan got a championship belt? Like,
won that legitimately. Lost it a minute and 58 seconds later. Not legitimately. I have to say, and I've still actually. Do you know what? I've still actually got a stick up my ass about that. So, Rudy Root, if you're listening, and you're not, but Rudy Root, if you're listening, go fuck yourself. You're probably going to want a bigger explanation than that, eh?
Yeah, we're definitely going to need a bigger explanation. I just need to know how the fuck this happened. Like, what?
Right, so you know I go on other podcasts that aren't yours?
Yes.
Yeah.
Upsettingly, yes.
There's a podcast that I go on called Chew the Fat. It's local to me. And they had on a local wrestling promoter, Adam Parris, shout out Adam Parris, who runs the promotion CXW, Championship Xtreme Wrestling. And we went to one of their shows in Hawksmoor, near Southend. And I got to chatting with Parris afterwards. And I said to him, look, it's always been my dream to be involved in professional wrestling somehow. If I can use like my meager fame to get like one bum on one seat, it'll be worth it. I'll work for free. Like, you know, I just want to do some professional wrestling. I just want to be involved somehow. And immediately I saw the cogs turning in his head. And like, he looks at me, he goes, oh, no worries, mate. Yeah, do you know what? I've actually got an angle for you. I'm going to have you win the belt. And I went, I'm not wrestling, Parris. I figured I could be like a manager or something. And he's like, no. So anyway, the next show, I roll up. It is a triple threat. Anything goes, falls count anywhere match for the CXW Extreme title, which at the time was a 24/7 title. It could be defended anywhere, anyone, anything. Okay. So essentially we're going into it. It's like literally like the hardcore championship from WWF, or if you're 14, the 24/7 championship from WWE. So I go out, I'm announcing the match, right? I come out, got me little card. I'm feeling very Justin Roberts about myself. I come out and I'm like, introduce it, bring all the wrestlers in. The match begins. They're off, they're all flying around. Joey Naylor is defending the belt. And so he's in there. He's in there with Rudy Root. He's in there with Sassy Bear Clarence. Right now. So they're kicking the ever-loving shit out of each other. And because it's anything goes, there's tacks, there's ironing boards. It's all kicking off. Anyway, match goes on. Sassy Bear manages to catch Joey Naylor and pins him. Sassy Bear wins. He is the new Extreme Champion. I run down there like full on, like sprinting as Rudy Root and Joey Naylor are fighting over a chair or something. I run into the ring, pin Sassy Bear. 1, 2, 3. I am the new Extreme Champion. And so while they're fighting on the outside, I get a mic. I rip my shirt off and I like rub it in between my legs with my crotch like a towel, being like, yeah, fuck CXW. I'm turning heel. So I cut the most horrendous heel promo saying that I'm finally bringing some prestige to CXW. Now that I've conquered the world of television, film, and children's sketch, I'm now here to conquer the world of wrestling. So I'm parading around like the big I am. Rudy Root grabs me, rolls me up very close to the tacks. I must say that. But because I'm nimble and athletic and agile, I was able to avoid those with great dexterity. But I get pinned 1, 2, 3. I lose the belt. Rudy Root's won it, and I'm like, holy hell! So I'm remonstrating with him. I'm like, how can you do this? This is unbelievable. You just attacked a random civilian.
Yeah.
This is totally illegit. This should be thrown out. This is crazy. Anyway, he pushes me, and as he pushes me, oh, here comes Joey Naylor, spears him through an ironing board. 1, 2, 3. Joey Naylor retains his belt.
What the fuck?
And the match is over. It was a great match. The belt changed 4 times in 2 minutes.
That's incredible.
Great stuff. But from there, I was like, I've got the taste for this now. I've got the absolute taste for this. So I have now become a manager. I'm a heel manager running a group called the VIPs.
Amazing.
Which consists, it's kind of a rolling cast in the VIPs because obviously it's British wrestling, so it's based on whoever's available. But the current rolling cast is Tim Strange, the 6'6" Canadian cowboy, 400 pounds of pure beef. Little Legs, self-described Europe's favorite wrestling midget. That's his words, not mine. I just want to throw that out there. Yeah. His words, not mine. And in addition, well, I should actually get to this. So CXW was founded in 2022, so it's a very, very young promotion. But Paris is so fucking good at his job that not only do they have sellout shows in Braintree, they've also set up an academy, CPW, Certified Professional Wrestling, where a bunch of guys come in and are learning the ropes and are now being integrated into shows. And just at the beginning of this month, June, if you're listening, I don't know when this is going to come out.
Next week.
Next week. Okay. Earlier this month, June, they finally have a permanent home. CPW have a specialized gym, 24/7 access with a wrestling ring.
Oh,
so like they've got an academy. They're growing. One of my other wards, my wards of the state, is JJ Gold. Shout out to JJ Gold. And I had the privilege, the honor of, because they put on together a CPW only night. So it was all the trainees having matches against each other. And I was on commentary for that. Another thing that I very much enjoy. In full heel mode, of course. Like I'm sat there, full suit, sunglasses, like giving it the big one. But yeah, to set aside kayfabe for a second, I had the honor of calling all of these people's first ever matches.
That's awesome.
And like that meant so much to me, like not only for sort of like something to do, but that Paris had such faith in me to do this. And like, you know, because I know the way I sold it to Paris is that like, look, I'm not a wrestler, but I can fucking talk. Yeah. And as anyone who's currently listening to this podcast will know, that is true.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to go out there as advocates because, like, you know, the thing about Brit Rest is that it's in a bit, funnily enough, a lot like the creative industries, it's in a bit of a parlous state because, like, it started to sort of re-emerge around the time they brought back World of Sports, but then WWE and NXT UK came in and basically hoovered up all of the talent. So it was in a parlous state for a long time, but it's getting back to where it should be now. And I'm happy to be a part of that process. But like it means that like there are some fundamentals missing from some people who are starting out in Brit Rest. Like they can do the moves, they can do all sorts of stuff like that, but they need an advocate. They need someone who can talk for them and to teach them how to talk because it's harder than it looks. You know, it's because it's all about crowd control. It's like, you know, building up and letting down, all that kind of release. So I'm sort of falling back on my old stand-up instincts for that, and it helps. But yeah, so I'm calling these matches for the first time, and then on the fly. On comms after JJ's first ever match, which was a winning effort, I was like, I'm making him a part of the VIPs. I call him over and on comms, which was filmed, so it therefore had tangibility. I was like, welcome to the VIPs, big boy. And yeah, so he's now, I now manage him. And the most recent show that we did, Consequences, his third ever match, he had against the Brit Rest veteran, Big Effin' Joe. A man who's been at this for a long old time. I suggest anyone listening to it should Google Big Effin' Joe and have a look at him because he is a scary dude. And in this match, we put together so many shenanigans because I was sort of like, look, if I'm going to establish myself as a manager, I need to be willing to get in there.
I was going to ask.
I need to be willing to have, especially as a heel manager, like comeuppance is a very important thing, right?
Yeah.
And so in this case, we start the match, like JJ attacks him before the bell. I'm like hanging off his neck on the ropes to give him a good choke. But as the match goes on and Big Effin' Joe starts, taking control, as he should, considering he's the vet, I get a double overhand chop to the chest. I get booted in the neck. I get clubbed on the back of the neck. I have beer spat in my face. I'm thrown about hither and yon. I took a tasting from this guy. And you know the worst thing? Couldn't even complain about it because he put JJ through a door.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, ow. And JJ's like, I just went through a door. But I'm like, oh, but he hit me. It really hurt, JJ.
Yeah. He spat beer at me.
I was blind, JJ. And JJ's like, yeah, he was sat on some chairs. I went to go cannonball him. He moved out the way and I took out 2 rows. What are you saying? That was the moment where I actually had to run up to him and be like, very quietly while the audience were baying for blood, just being like, you were right. And he's like, yeah, I feel so alive. I'm like, that's good because we've still got the door spot to do.
At the same time, though, you've taken all these beatings, and in your head you go, "This is the greatest day of my fucking life."
I walked out of that venue covered in beer and sweat, and with my chest inflamed with 2 handprints, and the back of my neck absolutely killing me, and I have never felt so fucking alive.
Can imagine.
Is this the transition, Ethan? Is this the transition now from?
Yeah, because obviously there's loads of money in professionals.
Who knows? Who knows, man? This could be
Tony Khan. I'm calling on you now. If you need some pernicious Brit to go manage, I don't know, Kip Sabian or something, I'm available.
Oh, the patriarchy. That'd be unbelievable.
Get me in the patriarchy. Christian Cage can talk about my absent father. It'll be great.
It could be Nick. If Nick Wayne leaves, it could be his new manager instead.
I'll be Nick Wayne's manager. Equally as infuriating as Cage. But no, like I am so proud that I gave it a go. And I feel like I'm learning more and more every single day. And I'm so proud of CXW. Like I said, like for it to be my home promotion and for them to be doing so well. Like it's a match made in heaven, and I couldn't be happier. If it's coming out next week,
Yes.
If you're free Sunday and you're in Braintree, come on down to the Institute at 3 p.m. because it's time for CXW in your face.
Amazing.
Belts will be defended. Hearts will be broken. Doors will be snapped in half by people's backs.
What I love about this, though, I saw on Instagram, I was like, what the fuck is Ethan doing with talking about? It all made complete fucking sense. Like, not to kiss your ass in the slightest. It's just, you're a huge wrestling fan. You know how to talk. You're a funny guy. It all just works. It made so much sense.
It's like I said, it's how I sold it. I was like, look, I'm pretty sure I can do something here. And like all it took was just the nerve to step up and say something. So I think for a long time, like because of the way acting works, like, you know, I get my auditions through and then I do them and then I send them off. I'd sort of forgotten what it felt like to be independently creative.
Yeah.
And like to actually sort of take those shots and like, you know, go to myself, like, why don't I just do it? Like maybe instead of waiting for something to come to me, why don't I just actually go and do it? And so like now I'm like, great, I'm learning how to take bumps just in case I ever need to. You know, I'm bumping shoulders with like, you know, wrestlers who are, oh, I've got to tell you this is mental, right? So I was managing a 6-man tag match. It was Tim Strange and a great tag team called the 8-7. Shout out to Leon and Alex. Great guys. And their opponents were the UK Pitbulls and Fearless Flatliner. Now, one of the UK Pitbulls, Big Mike Bulk, when I saw his name first and then I looked him up on Instagram, I was like, I genuinely can't believe this. I watched him wrestle 20 years ago in Butlin, Skegness.
Fuck. Is that how long they've been going?
Some of these UK vets have been going for a frankly heartbreaking amount of time.
Jesus.
But I watched him wrestle 20 years ago. And I went up to him and I said, do you know, Bulk, I watched you wrestle 20 years ago. And he was like, thanks for saying that to me. I feel very old now.
But that's not your only creative outlet now, because not only do you cheat on us and go on other people's podcasts, you started your fucking own.
Yeah, before we get to that, I want to tell another quick wrestling story.
Go for it.
Only because I know people are going to be listening to this who maybe aren't as familiar with professional wrestling. And I know they're probably going to be saying, oh, but it's not real. It's not real. Let me tell you a little something, right? Those handprints on my chest were real. Like, the fact that I had a stiff neck for 5 days after the show, that was real. And to cap it all off, the first time I met Big F and Joe, CXW also do adults only deathmatch nights. So it's all barbed wire, all broken glass, all the time. I have seen the most horrendous things. Two human beings doing things to each other that should never be done, especially not for a baying crowd. Like it is, like I like my death match as much as the next man, but when you're actually watching it in the flesh, and flesh is the operative word, it is heavy as shit. First time I met Big F and Joe, he was in the opening match. It was him and Ricky Knight Jr. in a cage match. They fought. For people who aren't familiar with Big F and Joe, his usual ring attire is a white button-down shirt with black tie and white tighty whities, which always looks absolutely horrendous during deathmatch because it doesn't stay white for long. I'll tell you that for nothing. So he comes back after the match. He's got blood like just erupting out of his head. Like he's got a huge gash on his leg. He's absolutely caked in gore. And he walks into the change room and he goes, oh, has anyone got a fucking ibuprofen? Wrestling is real, ladies and gentlemen. He had a headache.
And severe blood loss.
Which may or may not have been contributing to the headache. Get the boy some ibuprofen, for the love of God.
That is fucking phenomenal.
You see mental stuff in wrestling changing rooms, honestly. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Have you got a catchphrase?
Good evening, my disgusting public.
Oh, I like that.
Oh,
Gets the crowd going.
yeah.
Immediate booze. Just cascading down on me as I drink it all in.
That makes it more and more powerful.
Your hatred gives me strength.
Yeah.
I've got a podcast now.
Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. Shut
do you
up
wanna
and
know?
answer the question.
Shut up and answer the question.
How did this come about?
Right, so in the long halcyon days of 2022, do you remember those?
I do remember those.
We do.
A friend of mine, Sean Anthony, short out Shan Anthony. Shao Shaw Shun Shan Shan Shu 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 Sha Sha.
I
Shout out
speak
Sean
Chinese
Anthony.
too.
Yeah, that's another thing I've been spending my time. I've got a lot of free time. He had a podcast called Shut Up and Answer the Question with another friend of his, Martin. They're both voiceover artists. And they were basically using it as an opportunity to like sort of do some skits and stuff and like, you know, showcase their talents as voiceover artists. But then one thing led to another, as things do sometimes. They stopped recording episodes. Martin got busy. Sean got busy. And it just sort of fell by the wayside. And then it sort of went. But myself and Sean have been talking for a while about bringing it back, potentially in a slightly different form. And at the beginning of this year, we were like, we've been talking about it for ages. Why don't we? Why don't we just do it? And so we did. And Shut Up and Answer the Question is now available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podmuff, Castbean, Distribution Matrix, all of
Heart FM.
It's on Heart FM. You just go on there. It's on Sirius. No, we're not that good yet. But the basic premise is that we take questions from our audience. They send them in via our email, which is shutuppod@yahoo.com. That's SHUTPPOD @yahoo.com. And we start the show by asking a question, and then we spend the whole episode answering it. It's not a multiple question show. This is two people with suspected ADHD just riffing. And we are now, as of, okay, so I know you guys love it when I do this. It's the 11th of June. So, as of tomorrow, the 12th of June, which is a Thursday. It's a Wednesday right now. We're recording on a Wednesday, but tomorrow is a Thursday, and it is the 12th of June. Our 17th episode is coming out. And they say, and I don't know if you knew this as a fact, 95% of podcasts don't make it to their 10th episode.
Yep.
So we're already in the top 5 percentile. And as for you guys, I don't even know what episode you're on at the minute, but like you're like got to be top 0.0000001%. I should think
74.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Because I know I was like, was I 14? I feel like I was 49 or 48 for my first one on with you.
Yes.
It was in the 40s, I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna look. Bear with me.
See, this is something we don't do on Shut Up and Answer the Question. We've self-imposed forbidden
49.
to ever Google anything.
49 for the first one.
Oh, good memory, Ethan. Good
And
memory.
100 and 104 for the second one.
And now it's been 2 years, so we've got, but yeah, we're approaching 200, don't we?
Yeah.
Maybe 200 could be me and Tom Stade.
That's what I was about to say.
Let's get on and interview two people who haven't met and have nothing to do with each other.
Better be a fourth each.
Amazing.
I actually demand that we do this.
I'll get in touch with Tom State's people. I'm sure we can do
Yeah,
it.
not insist, demand. This is what I'm doing. But in terms of sort of like the tone, like the questions we go for as random as possible. And so like we've had classics like our most recent one, well, the one that's going to be coming out tomorrow at time of recording and last week at time of release, and a long time ago if you're not listening to this when it came out, which will be next week from now, which is the 11th of June. So that'll be coming out week commencing. When is the week commence? Actually, let me have a quick look at that. That's going to be quite
16th.
important for people. It's a 16th week commencing the 16th. So yeah, week commencing the 16th of June 2025. If you're not listening to the Chronicles of Podcast during that week, it will be more weeks ago than then. So that's episode 17. But the question was cars or bikes? Which led us on to a long, far too long discussion about the relative merits of the film, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Trust me, it was linked. Maybe. I don't know. We're both very, very, very mentally unwell.
I couldn't vouch for this. I listened to 16 today with the question about taking the bins out. And the tangents, I was like, where the fuck is this going? And then all of a sudden you're like, it's 45 minutes, probably wrap this up now. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's the show. But in addition to that, we have had guests as well, and it's not better. By and large, we'll ask the question and then just use that as a jumping off point to just have whatever the guests, whatever they want to talk about. We've had YouTubers, actors, and my two favorite things to say, we've had a marine biologist and a ventriloquist.
Yes, I saw the ventriloquist because I'd emailed him to be a guest on our show years ago. And he said no, but he went on yours.
Yeah, of course he did. You know why? Because I've got sway, baby.
You fucking do.
They said it couldn't be done, having a ventriloquist on a podcast, and they were right.
I need to be in a kids' sketch show. I'll get some ventriloquists on the show then. Fuck's sake.
Oh, you got me. Am I not good enough? You got me 3 times. I was...
Yeah, but you keep cheating on us, so it's fine.
Oh, I see. I see how that's going to be. Fucking hell.
Speaking of, I just mentioned them with kids' sketch. Horrible Histories. Are you still doing that?
Series 11 has just finished coming out. If you remember, I'd shot 10 and 11 back to back, all the way back in 2022.
Yes.
Not long after we first met, actually, funny enough. So it's taken that long for it all to come out.
Wow.
And in the interim, we did Horrible Science. I wasn't as heavily involved in Horrible Science because I think they're sort of trying to build sort of like parallel casts with the idea of it being sort of like histories, then science, then histories, then science, basically just taking over the CBBC timeline. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I've not heard anything, but with any luck, there'll be more to make. That'll be nice. Be good to have.
Absolutely.
So very exciting. But if you like your horrible histories, we had James McNicholas on the podcast. We asked him how he would beat a clone of himself that is slightly better than him in every way.
How would you beat them?
You have to listen to the episode to find out, mate.
Oh, you're a fucking good salesman, you are.
Good. He's good, isn't he? He's good.
That was good. I ain't telling you shit. You listen to my show.
He's a producer. He's a producer. He knows now. I've like grown producer brain. Like it's crazy. Brain. I actually genuinely wanted to talk to you guys about this. What is your process of securing guests?
Emails and hoping for the best.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not doing it wrong then.
No, that's pretty much all there is to it. Emails and hope for the best.
I genuinely can't tell if Tom is listening.
You've cut out so much, I have no idea what's going on. So
you're going to have so much fun listening to this back.
I know, because I literally just me just look like I'm bored the entire time, and I'm not. I'm literally just frozen the whole fucking time.
God, could you do something like? Can you get like one? You know those wooden paddles with the ball with a bit of elastic on it. You get one of them and just something visual, so it doesn't look like you're just staring into space.
What was that?
Great.
The timing on that, Jesus.
What?
No idea what was said.
Oh, Tom, I can't wait for you to hear this episode. It's been a riot.
Now, I've heard quite a bit, but there's moments where that's why I fucking hardly asked anything, because I can't fucking get a word in with the fact that it keeps cutting out all the fucking time.
Well, hopefully this will all be fixed by the episode 400 extravaganza. Because then there's going to be 2 people for you to look bored at. What?
Congratulations, Ethan, you're the new host of the show with Jamie.
Finally, we call it the hostile takeover. Welcome under the umbrella of Shut Up Productions and VIP Management. I'm taking over this town. I'm like a cowboy from hell. I'm like Vince Abbott, baby.
So before we do start wrapping this up, because I think Tom would actually like to know what's going on. Let's look towards the future. I was looking on IMDb. You got a couple of projects coming up. Old Silas and the Liar.
Right, let's do away with the liar immediately. Let me tell you a story about the liar.
Oh, okay.
I auditioned for the liar. Guess when I auditioned for the liar?
2021?
Earlier.
Fuck off. 2019.
Earlier.
2015.
Sooner.
2016, that glorious year.
Sooner than that.
2018?
Earlier than that.
2017?
Got it in one.
Hey!
So, speaking of got it in one, I need to tell you another story in a minute, but we'll get to that. So I auditioned for The Liar in 2017, which, if you're listening to this at time of release, was 8 years ago. And if you're not listening to this in 2025, then it will be that plus however many years in the future. This is basically for me when I'm listening to this in prep for part 4 or part 4, as we'll be naming it. But I auditioned for The Liar back then. And bearing in mind, this was a long time ago when I could feasibly pass for a 16-year-old.
Oh, okay.
I do not think that is possible. And I have been begging on my knees with IMDb and Wikipedia to just remove it from my credits because it's not happening. I haven't heard thing one from this project since 2019.
Okay, we'll scrap that. That's not happening.
Because the last I heard, Jeff Goldblum got attached around 3 years ago.
Wait, what?
And I was like, oh, okay. I wonder if we're ever going to make it. IMDb seems to believe it's in post. I might have missed something. I don't remember going.
That's why I asked, because it said, post-production, it's clearly been filmed. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
That's where we're going wrong.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. There are local
being
women
said,
in my area interested in me. Shit.
Must be said, you're a... Old Silas, you are right.
Hey, yeah, we got 1 out of 2.
So I would have shot that 2024. Yeah, probably just over a year ago. It's a horror short. It's my first horror film.
Ooh.
It was made by my good friend Phil Trout. Phil Trout was the script supervisor on Afterlife, and he watched me dance around like an idiot, embarrass myself. He saw me naked in a bath. He saw all of that, and he thought to himself, "That's my guy for my very serious horror film." So I'm not sure how much I can say, but what I will say is it is as I said, it's a short. It's a 2-hander. It's me and Belinda Owusu, formerly of EastEnders, and it's a 2-hander in a sort of like a sort of single location. Very, very artful, very, very dramatic, very play-like actually. It's about a spooky guy. And we are hoping for it to hit festival circuits maybe this year, if not next. There's it's gone through a hell of an editing process, but with any luck, it will be at a point eventually where it will be watchable for people. And I'll be sure to let everyone know when it comes out so everyone can have a little look at it. Me doing serious acting. Ooh.
I saw the watchable.
Well, I mean, I wasn't looking at the dailies. You know what I mean? It might be a load of shit. There's no way to know until we.
Fair point.
Tom looks so sad because he can see you laughing and he doesn't know why.
Nope.
No.
This is breaking my fucking heart. This. I'm so excited for this.
Oh.
Thanks, Ethan.
I feel bad that he's pissing himself laughing. I don't know if we'll have him on a fourth time though.
Yeah, with Tom Stade. I'm organising it if you won't. I'll get in contact with these people. I know how to email management now. I'm way on it.
He's learning how to do it. But no, before we do let you go, though, Ethan, are there any targets, goals, anything you've got your eyes set on now for the future, whether it just be the rest of 2025 or going forward?
Monetize the podcast. No, I'm only partially joking. Like we do want the show to grow. So like if you are a TCO fan, do give it a go. Maybe start with a guest episode, because if you enjoy the chaotic energy that I bring to this show, imagine if I'm the interviewer.
Fair point.
Like, so it's probably a good place to start, as an idea. So yeah, that could be good. I mean, I'm just hoping to get all serious again now. I hope things pick up because it's looking pretty grim out there, and it would be nice to see just some glimmer of light that we're sort of coming to the end of this. And maybe we will, maybe we won't, and if not, I will go back to pizza delivery. So thank you very much, and I'll see if I can't get that regional manager position.
Wow, what a throwback!
Yeah, I rewatched the episodes ahead of this. I remember us talking about regional managers a lot.
One thing I will say though, I know you're saying there it does look bleak and everything like that, but you can tell that passion's still there in you. You want to fucking do this still. You still love it, and just don't let that die.
When I made that video in 2024, I was at probably the lowest ebb of my life / professional career, which is the same thing ultimately. And yeah, the back end of 2024, I wasn't looking after myself. I was in a bit of a spiral. Like, I wasn't working. I was sad. I'd moved house. Like, I'd spent a lot of money on that. I was annoyed. I was drinking too much. Like, there was stuff going on in my personal life, which we don't need to get into. But like, it was all kicking off, right? And I just felt absolutely at my lowest possible ebb. And then come 2025, and I was like, do you know what? I should probably just do some stuff for me. And that's like, that's where my tightened focus on wrestling came in. It's why I started the podcast back up. It's why I've been trying to write on Substack. I haven't written that much. But recently I did a thing that I'd never done before. I played a video game, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. And I wrote an analysis of its opening hour that went up on Finger Guns, which is a video game website. So I'm now a journalist, technically. Writing editorial only. But like, it's stuff like that, just stuff that I'm getting like a creative expression from that I'm obviously not getting from my career. And it's reminded me, like you said, like it's reminded me why I cared about any of this in the first place. It woke me up to the fact that while I was sort of sitting there all morose and sad and like, oh, woe is me, the end of my career, blah, 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 blah. The whole reason I got into this is because I'm a creative guy and I like doing creative stuff. And I think I lost that. I think over time I'd lost that. And I've found it again now. And so while the career's not looking great, I'm happier than I was last year, which is when we didn't do the podcast. So if you'd have caught me then,
we didn't do it.
Just sat there, just listlessly staring into the middle distance. Well, that drunk guy again.
I forgot about drunk guy. That was amazing. Incredible. Mr. Stevens, are you there?
I am now.
You are. While we have you, do you have any questions or a question at all for our wonderful guest?
I'll try and get this in and see if this works. When do you feel most creatively alive? Is it on stage, on mic, or at the ringside?
It sort of fulfills different purposes. Like for wrestling, I've always loved live crowds. Like, there's nothing like it. Like the adrenaline in your soul, something Cody Rhodes. And like, there's no sensation like it. But I also feel like how often it's been, I don't know if it's like this with you guys as well, but how often it's been that I've had a guest on my pod and like they've left the Zoom and me and Sean sit back and we're like, that was a good app. We've got a good fucking pod here.
Yeah.
Like we've done the thing. This was good. This was really good. And so it sort of tickles different itches. You know what I mean? It tickles my pickles in different ways. Like, you know, the live crowd is like a big adrenaline dump, whereas like a podcast is sort of like the feeling of a job well done and like slipping into a warm bath.
Oh.
I should say something, Jamie. Actually, me and Tom were secretly messaging last night.
Rude.
And we said that every time you were going to try and wrap this podcast up, we'd introduce another topic, which obviously is difficult when the guy who's the host, who probably came up with what I imagined was a set of great topics, can't sort of integrate into the podcast in any realistic way. Which means we're going to have to defer that till part 4 feat Tom Stade.
Oh, we only get to feature poor Tom.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to slip into my wrestling persona for just a minute. But like, yeah, obviously, main event, right?
Main event, Ethan Lawrence.
Main event in any promotion I'm in. Any room, any hall. I'm the reason people are here. National Television Award. British Comedy Award. BAFTA. Sort of a bit different from someone wearing a Tin Pot belt, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. He can get the feature. Yeah, that's fine.
Good evening, my disgusting public.
Oh, fucking phenomenal. Ethan, we absolutely adore you and adore talking to you. Let's not leave it 2 years next time, yeah?
Let's not. Well, you're quite close to episode 400, so I imagine I'll be seeing you in a couple of months.
Probably, yeah.
Hopefully Tom can build some Wi-Fi in between now and then.
I
do feel something has been lost.
Yeah, I think dial-up might have been faster.
Something has been very much lost. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying I haven't had a wonderful time with you, Jamie, but you know that as a pair, you're a strong unit, and I love you both to pieces.
But no, we will definitely do this again. But before we do let you go, plug social medias. Where can people find you out in the world?
Okay, right. There's quite a few of them, so I'll get started as quickly as possible. No time. One thought. Here we go. Oh yeah, I had another anecdote to tell you about. Got it in one.
Yes, you did.
We'll do that quick.
Okay.
When I was shooting Murder They Hope, right? We were shooting at a community centre in Pinner, in North London. And I'm out there with Johnny Vegas and Steve Edge.
Amazing.
And we were out there. And we're separated at a distance, obviously, because you had to have 2 meters and all that. And out walks from the community centre, where there is an active film set, out walks this tiny little Scouse man. And it's not important to the story that he's Scouse, but it also is so important to the story. So he waddles out. And again, have to stress, Steve is dressed in old Edwardian garb. He's dressed like a Shakespeare character. And so he's got on the doublet and the tights and all that and a ruff. And this little Scouse man, he comes out and points at Steve Edge and he goes, "Hey, Renaissance." And Steve's like, yeah, I guess, I suppose. And he's like, "Hey, good luck to you." And so initially it was Johnny found this so funny. He stuck his head into the lighting truck and is wheezing laughing. Because of this weird little man. And Steve thought the conversation had ended there. But the guy's just standing there, just nodding. Just "Hey." And he starts to tell Steve his life story. And he says to Steve, he goes, "Do you know why I moved down here?" And Steve goes, I don't know, a woman? "No." "Oh, right. For work?" "That's right, work. Got it in one." So that's where that came from. I just say get it in one, no matter how many attempts it takes for people, because I just think it's just a really funny thing to say. So yeah, he's got it in one. He goes, so I applied for 5 jobs when I was going to move down here. Do you know how many of them I got? 5. He got all of them. Now, at this point, I'm waggling my eyebrows because when you wag your eyebrows when there's a civilian around, that's basically actor code for, do you want me to go and get the runner to pretend that you have to go somewhere so that you don't have to be in this conversation anymore? Johnny Vegas is dying in that lighting truck at this point. I don't know how the rest of the conversation went because he waggled his eyebrows, yes. So I vanished. But I will never forget that small little Scouse man who I think he must have thought we were like a charity or something. Because he's like, he's looking at that outfit and going, best of luck to you. Yeah, good on you. But no, I'll never forget that. That's right. Got it in one. He's just laughing. He's not even. It's weird, isn't it, when Johnny Vegas isn't the funniest person in an anecdote?
No, the tiny Scouse man is.
It's the tiny Scouse man. Hey, Renaissance. Anyway, plugs.
Plug social medias.
At Ethan D. Lawrence everywhere. I'm not really on Twitter anymore. I've locked the account down. So if you want to follow me, fuck off. I'm on Instagram at Ethan D. Lawrence. I'm on TikTok at Ethan D. Lawrence. I'm on Blue Sky at Ethan D. Lawrence, but I don't ever go on there because it's full of centrist melts. I have a Substack, Ethan Lawrence Large Actor, on substack.com, where you can read all my writings. In terms of wrestling dates, follow Championship Xtreme Wrestling and Certified Pro Wrestling on Instagram. You'll find dates. I'm usually at every show, provided I can make it. If you want to listen to my podcast, type in Shut Up and Answer the Question on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever podcasts are had. If you want to follow the show itself, it is on Instagram at Shut Up and Answer Pod and on TikTok at Shut Up Pod. If you want to send us a question, you can send it to shutuppod@yahoo.com. That's SHUTPPOD at yahoo.com. And is there anything else? Be good to each other and don't always trust IMDb, because I know from first-hand experience, it lies. Also, read your Bible. Read your Bible, kids. Don't make the kind of mistake that Tom made, where he thinks that Jesus dying was the ultimate sacrifice, when really it was the suffering that he went through along the way. Long live my butchers, and I apologize about the lack of brick upholstery credits. Is that how we do that?
It is now.
I'm a producer.
Ethan, thank you so much yet again. It means the absolute world. We're definitely going to do this again, because I think we need to. So Tom can
I'm just hoping that Tom can join us next time.
Yeah,
this was, I've never seen someone look so despondent.
Oh,
Tom, honestly, when you listen to this back, you're going to love it.
I can't wait.
Oh man, I'm going to have to actually edit this one, ain't I? Fuck. Oh, God.
Yeah, you might have to edit some of it.
Yeah, bollocks. I don't do editing.
It'll be fine then.
No.
So we see how it looks. I mean, I don't know. I genuinely don't know how that much lag will actually like show up in a record. Like, I don't know if that's.
Fuck knows. I'm only joking. Of course, I'll edit. But no. Ethan, thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you both. Tom, if you can hear me, thank you.
Thank you, mate. Pleasure as always.
Jamie, thank you very much.
Goodbye, my friend.
I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Take care, mate. See you later.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Hello, mate.
Hi, Tom. So we're just wrapping up the pod.
Okay, cool. How did it go? Was it good?
Yeah, it went really well. I'm sorry you couldn't be there for most of it.
Yeah, it's fucking shit, isn't it?
Because I know you were really looking forward to it. Oh my God, he's frozen on the WhatsApp as well.